Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hopefully things look very different this week. After I uploaded last week's video, I had a major meltdown and Chia and I then spent 2 days figuring out my lighting situation, and I had to change camera settings, editing settings, everything. So hopefully my lighting now is perfection. It was such an intense and rigorous couple of days. I did not cry. I held it together, but I got real close when we finished to crying because it was a lot mentally for me to handle. And my goal with my lighting was to get as accurate of a color representation as possible. So fingers crossed, I'm there. For the past year or so when I've been doing my uploads and stuff, I always am happy with my color correction and color grading, and then like 3 weeks go by and I hate it, and then everything changes all over again. You've probably noticed that I do that. Now we've spent so many hours. It was 7.5 hours total over 2 days to figure it out. So fingers crossed. Audio, I'm still learning how to do audio, so that is the one side of my content, which I'm still going to ask you to please be patient with until I really nail it down. This week's video, as you can tell by the thumbnail, you can tell by the title, we are doing Angelina Jolie's 2000 Oscar makeup. I tried to do the hair. I didn't want to straighten my hair today, but her hair is pin straight at that Oscar photo that I'm using as my reference. I decided to change the photo that I was going to use. I'm using now the Oscar photo. It's the exact same makeup. It's a very Angelina Jolie face, but I just have multiple angles of that one. And the one that I used in my poll, which there were so many people who voted in that poll. I think we were at 22 votes. Amazing. My second most popular poll, so I don't know if it was just fun to pick a photo and click on it, or if you guys really want to see an Angelina Jolie look. With that being said, I have now put some Embryolisse all over my face, and I'm going to bring it down my neck just so I can get a little bit of a healthy glow going. I don't think Angelina Jolie ever tanned. Correct me if I'm wrong. The healthy glow is just to be moisturized, and then that will do the trick. And this is probably something that was actually used on her, because this is a very old school product to whip out on your client. I love the Embryolisse cream though. I find I never have problems with it clogging my pores or anything like that. Oh yes, and today I'm drinking a half pot, this was halfway full, of some matcha. Over the holidays, I was really bad with staying hydrated, so my skin is going through it right now, but the other day I got some more tea that doesn't need dairy to be put in it to hopefully convince myself to drink more liquid, because I lost my water drinking habit over, those 3 weeks? I also painted my nails for you guys. I think Angelina Jolie just had a classic buff on her nail to make it shiny. I felt like doing a little bit of a paint, and it's also, I believe, a shade accurate color to the year 2000. This is Essie Mademoiselle, which is like a milky sheer pink. If you were a beauty girl in the year 2000, let me know if that's an accurate shade. I think it is. Maybe it's late 2000s, but I think it was around in the 90s. Now she has a very luminous matte skin, so the luminosity for us is going to be that Embryolisse that we just put down. I don't know, this is where things are going to get like a little complicated, because I'm not doing an exact replication of her makeup because that's not possible. I don't know what the makeup products were that got used on her, so it's going to be my modern remake of a vintage makeup look at this point. The year 2000 is vintage. Sorry, it's okay. I'm vintage too. So this is the Pat McGrath Labs foundation. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of matte foundations that are being reformulated. The EU has banned
cyclopentasiloxane.
I'll put it on the screen, this ingredient. That ingredient is the second ingredient in the Pat McGrath Labs foundation. So I am not going to be surprised if this gets discontinued or reformulated. How the brand Pat McGrath Labs is going right now, it might just be discontinued and they might just come out with something new, which would be devastating. This is my holy grail foundation. Like, I can just use it straight out of the bottle. This is the only foundation I can do that with. This past Black Friday, I just ended up buying 2 of them because it took so long for my shade to be restocked by the brand. So I bought 2 because I didn't want to be left high and dry without my foundation. And then this past week, I learned that that ingredient that's being discontinued is what gives the Pat McGrath Labs foundation such a gorgeous, gorgeous finish. It's in the YSL foundation. It's in the Armani Luminous Silk, and that was what got reformulated out of that foundation. The only thing that is a little bit of a mystery is in the Pat McGrath Labs foundation, I don't know what form of the ingredient is in the foundation because it's only 3 or 4, what would you call it? The twisty thing. I did not do well in science, please forgive, but like the sequence of the chemical, there's only like 3 or 4 of them that are actually banned in the EU. So if you love the Pat McGrath Labs foundation just as much as I do, be warned, it's gonna go. And that EU ban is set in place for 2027. So this is the last year that any of those formulas can have the ingredient in it to be sold in the EU. This is my skin, how we're looking right now. I am going to take, this is isopropyl. I'm going to take a Q-tip dipped into some isopropyl. This is something I saw Neo It Girl do, and she uses it on clients to clean out the eyebrow. And because it's an isopropyl, it's going to leave the eyebrow area dry and free from oils that may have set in from just now doing the Embryolisse and foundation. So it's a technique I've recently been trying out. See, I'm already on a refill of my tea. Now, HD powder, I don't know if HD powder existed in the year 2000, but I'm just going to dust a little bit on my face. This is the Evolution powder from Danessa Myricks. It is one of the only powders left at Sephora Canada that still has talc. I expect this to be reformulated or turned into a website only purchase. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. Look at her flying through the air. And that has kind of helped absorb that extra bit of shine that was happening. I am not going to conceal because we're going to be accentuating our under eye. I feel like not concealing is I keep looking at myself, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna try to look down at you guys. We're accentuating our eyes basically, and we wanna keep that little bit of a sultry under eye moment. But let's move on to eyebrows. I feel like doing a powder in the eyebrow would be the most close method to the year 2000. I could be wrong, but I feel like it was either Anastasia's being booked to do her pomade or you're using powder. So we'll do powder. I'm going to go in with a little bit, I'm mad sciencing. I'm going to like a little bit of this, a little of this, a little of this. Let's do eyebrows. And it really is just filling in anywhere that is a little sparse. That's a pretty good shade match I did. Look at me. And I'm starting a little bit in. I'm not fully going to the outside of my eye because I'm just going to be using, my goodness, I'm just going to be using whatever is left on my paper towel and brush. If this is the first video you've seen from me, I always work with a paper towel that I tap off into. Because if we start at the front, it's going to apply way too much powder right away. And we don't want that. So now whatever is left on my brush, I'm just going from where my eyebrow would grow from and flicking up with the flat side. And there we have our eyebrows. Cute. Contour with MAC Taylor Gray. I'm just going to pick up the Sephora 98 brush and tap into my Taylor Gray. And we are just going into this point where our ear kind of connects to the rest of our head. And that's really going to accentuate that jawline if you have a natural jaw. Because my cheekbones are the same as Angelina Jolie, where it's like a little bit lower, so you have more cheek to play with. Accentuating in this kind of a triangle area is what's really going to illusion that you have a really cut cheek when you might not. Like here's my natural shadow and we've really just accentuated. Here it is without, here it is with. It really just pulls that jawline. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, just wiggling it around. I'm just going to go back in with my foundation brush and just tap over my first side. I feel like it needs it. Gorgeous. And then I have big eyes, so I'm continuing on with this Sephora 98. I'm picking up more Taylor Gray and I'm gonna go over my eye. In the Makeup by Mario, the neutrals, this more nudie taupey pink shade, I'm just gonna dust over that Taylor Gray. And even though I haven't done anything to my under eyes yet, you can see that this grayness is starting to pull that forward. But now we're going to go into that under eye. So that same kind of not gray, not pink, not beige shade, and bring that down and go all the way across. And I'm taking a blending brush to just make sure we're blended all over. Now it does look like she has some sort of eyebrow highlight. So I'm taking the cream shade from the same palette and I'm going to take it on a thin smudge brush and tap it right under that tail, kind of concentrating it in that one area, the way that this photo shows. Now, to me, it looks like she has a charcoal liner on. In the original post, it was brown. In this one, it's charcoal, basically not black. I will do charcoal. This is the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner. And now we lock in and focus on liner. And it's very old school across the whole entire eyelid and into a wing. I'm also going to tightline, try to really get into that lash line. And I'm going to smudge it out just a little bit. And before I do the wing, I'm going to line my other eye to make sure the actual thickness is even. Okay, now that we're lined, we are going to smudge a line outward and then go in with a brush. With that first kind of applicator brush, this is what we're going to use to just pat it out. And I need extra care for my eyeliner to last, so I'm going to take a little bit of this Viseart gray and mix it with this kind of brown and pat that over top of the gray liner, or my eyeliner is going to go everywhere. Modernish technique of cleaning up that line, but it's very like smudged out, worn, end of the night at the Oscars This side is a bit too long. It doesn't extend past the tail of your eyebrow. She does not have on any false eyelashes from what I can see. So I'm just going to do regular mascara, but I will curl my eyelashes. And I also just reapply anywhere that the eyeliner may have smudged away from the eyelash curler. And I'm gonna go in with the L'Oreal Panorama. I completely forgot about the lower lash line. Brief pause on the mascara-ing. With the gray, we are going to go again as close as we can to the lash line on the lower lashes. And then use a brush to smudge it out. And now we continue with mascara. I am really focusing in on this angle of the second photo. Now, before I can clean up any of the little mascara flakies, those have to dry completely. Focusing on lips now. It's a very orangey nude lip, which is so scary. I think if I mix Modern Day Blankety and Modern Day Cream Cup, those are two shades that would have been around this time. This is Cream Cup first. And we'll go from there. It's a bit too coral. I'm gonna take it off. This is gonna be hard. Okay, just gonna take it off. What about Blankety? Closer. Ooh. I also have Myth. Take this off. I'm gonna do the lower lip in Myth and see which one I like more. Maybe it was Myth. What if I just mix the two? Blankety and Myth together. I think that'll do. Again, these are the modern shade reformulations of this color. I'm assuming she's wearing original Myth or original Blankety. I feel like everyone wore MAC lipsticks back in the day, and the shades do change over time. But it is matte, so I'm going to pick up that setting powder on a brush and just pat it into the lips. And flick off the mascara. Should I do the beauty mark? Just for funsies. There she is, the beauty mark. There was not a blush to be seen in these photos, but I feel like I could get away with adding maybe Blush Please from MAC. If you really can't leave the house without a blush. There's blush, please. Just like a little bit. Of course, I say that, and then the hardest part is always replicating it to the other side. There we go. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on Angelina Jolie's Oscar-winning year 2000 makeup look. Do I look like her? Someone give me my Oscar. What a beautiful performance. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you liked me, thank you so much. You should consider subscribing. That way I can pop up in your feed more often. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Both are Claire Cuckoo as well. Everything I used will be listed in the description box down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!